What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ramblin Gamers. And today I am here with Adam.
Yo.
Alright, and today we're going to ramble on about the latest video game news along with several other topics, ranging from our game opinions to news about upcoming nerdy movies and TV shows. I believe we are on episode 7 now. If you guys are liking the show and want to stay up to date, please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Ramblin Gamers. Also, we have recently started uploading all of our podcasts to YouTube. We plan on uploading other content to YouTube. Right now, we just wanted to start getting something up there so that way you guys have something to go to. Unfortunately, we aren't able to make a link until we get 100 subscribers. So as soon as you guys get us to 100 subscribers, we can change it to youtube.com/ramblinggamers or whatever the URL is. But right now, it's probably best just to look us up in the search bar by Ramblin Gamers. Please share this with a friend so we can try to get this audience bigger. Like I said, we want to get the YouTube channel to 100 subscribers so that way we can change it and be a little bit more marketable than youtube.com/q2rl. We don't want that. So please share this. Before we get into the news, I just want to ask you, Adam, how's it going? How was your viewing of Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 5?
It was good. I was surprised to see Ahsoka. Like, I remember hearing that she was going to be in the show and, like, the casting news and all that, but how they just kind of slid her in this episode, I just, like, was kind of, like, not prepared. Not that it really impacted me that much, but it, like, I was like, oh, yeah, there she is. Like, I remember she was going to be in this season.
I think you and I are kind of in the same boat where we don't have a huge understanding of the Clone Wars TV show, so I like, after hearing the rumors of Rosario Dawson being cast and potentially playing her, I wasn't like super concerned. I guess I wasn't necessarily looking for anything specific out of the character. The only thing I was concerned about was making sure her hair didn't look dumb, because I always thought it looked dumb in the Clone Wars. And I didn't think it was going to translate well to live action. But I mean, she looked like how I thought. She didn't look dumb. Her lightsabers are cool. It's cool seeing. Is probably the coolest things we've seen with lightsabers in any Disney related Star Wars live action movie or TV show. So that was cool to see. But I do think the battle at the end was a little bit underwhelming. Like, her fighting, and I don't know any other names, but Ahsoka Tano fighting whoever she was fighting was kind of an underwhelming battle.
Her hair was kind of gross. I felt like if you, like, squeezed it, it'd feel like a stress ball.
Yeah, but how else were they gonna make it? I guess maybe I'm in the minority thinking that it looked dumb in the cartoon. I was like, I don't know. Were you concerned about how it would look in a live action movie or TV show?
No, I wasn't really concerned about that. And I mean, like, it looks fine. Like, they did it well. It just, like, it just looks gross.
Yeah, I can't believe we're literally talking about this. Baby Yoda has a name now. Grogu. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's about as, like, impressive as it could have been, I feel like.
Yeah, like it's not dumb, which means it's a good name, I guess. Because what is it, Yoda? And there's only one other creature like him that we know of, at least, and his name is Yaddle. So it's better than Yaddle, but not quite as good as Yoda. And it's not dumb. It's not something that when I first heard, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go look at Twitter to see it lighting up with memes, but that hasn't been the case so far. Everyone's just gonna still call Grogu Baby Yoda anyways.
Yeah.
But all right, anyways, let's get on to the video game news. We're gonna jump right into the Cuphead DLC being delayed. If you haven't been paying close attention to our other episodes, Adam and I are both huge fans of Cuphead. Their DLC was slated to come out, I believe, in 2019, and it got delayed until 2020. And it's being delayed further, and I don't think they even gave a release date for it. Are you surprised by this news?
I think I'm with everyone, and we all kind of knew the DLC was going to be delayed further. The surprise was how long it took the team to really announce anything in terms of it being delayed.
Yeah, that's true, because it was supposed to come out this holiday, and I guess I'll go over this quote from MDHR's Twitter. They're the developers of the game. Quote, in the wake of the ongoing global pandemic affecting so many, we have made the difficult decision to push back the release of the delicious last course. For our wonderful Cuphead community, we've prepared a letter from Studio MDHR founders Chad and Jared Moldenhart to share more. Which basically, in that letter, they just discussed how they didn't want to release anything that was bad quality, and they'd much rather delay it than release something that they weren't proud of. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that this pandemic played too much into the delay. I think it was getting delayed anyways. We haven't seen anything in it in a while. I think they may have shown like part of a boss fight in at like an E3 a couple years ago, but that I don't necessarily. I mean, I'm sure the pandemic affected them in some way. I'm not really buying that that's the reason for it. I don't know about you though.
I mean, they just seem to have a hard development process, which I mean, the original game had that too. The game was delayed uh probably like 3 years total from when it was supposed to come out. They kind of similar to what it was here is like they just kept saying it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and then like 1 year they're like it's actually coming, and it was pretty hype. So I don't think anyone is really expecting them to quickly follow up with the DLC, but it is taking a lot longer than you'd think for I don't even they said it's like one more island,
Yeah, I believe
which is
so.
like what like a third of the game was, so there's probably like what like 6 bosses in it.
So I mean,
So
I like we don't know for sure, but I would assume it'd be
yeah.
around like two, 6 bosses, and then 2 running guns, most likely, with probably some different power ups and different shots.
And I mean I'm not gonna say
Maybe what are those other things called? The mausoleum? What? No, that's not what it's called. What are they called? Like the church?
yeah, like the mausoleums where you jump on the ghost and get a new
Is that what
super.
the?
Yeah.
Okay, is that what the is? Okay, gotcha.
Um but
But I mean, we know that this hand drawn animation takes a long time. I mean, we've seen it with Hollow Knight where they were not gonna have a DLC and they just decided to make it a sequel, which I was kind of hoping Cuphead would do as well.
yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that here without saying upfront in this instance with them
Hmm.
delaying the DLC that they're turning into a sequel, just because of like how much more work it is. With Hollow Knight, they said they started with ideas and then they had a lot of ideas that they wanted to implement, so they just put it into its own package. Whereas here, it's like they have their eyes set on like 6 or whatever bosses. They might have more ideas for bosses, but it's going to take an exponentially longer amount of time to implement more bosses to make a sequel. So I could see them just kind of sticking to DLC based on the fact that they haven't hinted towards any sort of sequel. And like I don't know. I mean, if I were them, I'd probably be tired of this and want to do something different, like a different creative medium that's not as extraneous and time consuming. But I could also see them with how big Cuphead is wanting to maybe do something else with the brand as well. But I'm not.
I
If
guess
it were
I
me, I'd be kind of done with Cuphead with how long it takes and how long I've been working on it.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point that I haven't thought of is like when they're eventually done with Cuphead, are they gonna because I don't see them making a Cuphead sequel that takes them less than like 5 or 6 years to make, just because that is kind of their production process so far. So and I don't see them ever like skipping out on that. Like if they're gonna make a Cuphead, they're gonna do it right. If they're gonna make a
Hmm.
Cuphead sequel, I just wonder like you bring up a good point. Are they gonna be done with it after this? They might be. Who knows? Maybe they'll move on. The few developers won't want to move on to a new. I mean, who knows? Maybe Xbox or PlayStation will buy them, and they'll have more people at their disposal. Because I'm fairly certain the studio, not counting Chad and Jared, I believe is only 13 people, which is
Hmm.
crazy to think about. Only 13 people made that
Yeah.
game. But,
Um, And I mean, Cuphead's already kind of a brand. Like they have a TV show coming, they have books and
mhm.
like the game, obviously. So I wonder if
Yeah,
it's going to be like a Minecraft thing where maybe they kind of hand it over to Microsoft so they can do something else, like another game, and maybe
hmm
Microsoft will kind of just keep the brand going, just kind of for money at that point.
So I guess regarding Minecraft, it would be kind of cool to see Microsoft get a hold of Cuphead to see what they can do with it in future games or DLC if they decide to go down that route. But that's enough of Cuphead for today. Moving on to Metal Gear Solid, or the rumors going around now, the rumor mill we're going into, the Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill remake rumors are popping up again. We've heard about the Silent Hill one for a while now. Have you played any of these games before, Adam?
I've played a few Metal Gear Solid games, and like the story kind of interests me because of how bananas it is, but the gameplay is just not for me. Like the stealth stuff. I tried playing Metal Gear Solid 3, and I just couldn't
Hmm.
really get into like the stealth kind of gameplay of it. But Silent Hill, I have not played, but I have like been interested in playing it. I've watched playthroughs online of it, and I actually played the PT,
Hmm.
which was the demo for the Silent Hill game that Kojima was gonna make before Konami gave him the boot. But yeah, I mean, it seems like Konami has been trying to get Silent Hill back in some sort of way, and I mean, I would definitely believe that there's a Silent Hill remake coming from them.
And we've heard the Silent Hill one for years now. And I the Metal Gear Solid one I feel like has been we've kind of heard about, but I feel like that's more just people wanting it than it actually being a potential rumor.
Yeah.
But I've heard that one more pop up more and more ever since Blue Point has finished with Demon Souls, and it's been really popular that people want PlayStation to go ahead and let them do a Metal Gear Solid remake, which it's not PlayStation's decision to make. It's Konami's to give up the rights to it or contract someone to
Mhm.
do it. So I think kind of putting that on PlayStation is, I mean, that's not really fair because they can't control it. But it doesn't seem like Konami really wants to do anything with video games anymore. All they've been doing recently have been the Pro Evolution Soccer and I think some mobile stuff. But they're just killing it with like those pachinko machines and
Oh yeah.
what Japan and China now.
Yeah, the
So I
gambling
mean
one.
I don't. We've heard the Silent Hill one. Yeah, we've heard the Silent Hill one. Have you heard any studios that have been directly associated with that, or just that it's happening?
Just that it's happening. Like everyone else last I knew
Yeah.
was Kojima was doing it, but obviously not. That game's scrapped. But with Metal Gear Solid, like if they do Metal Gear Solid remake, you know Kojima's not going to be involved at all with it, and I
Hmm.
feel like people would be pretty upset about that.
Well, that's not even necessarily down to whatever studio's making it not wanting Kojima to be a part of it. That's down. I mean, unless obviously Konami makes it themselves. That's I think he just I don't know if he wants to do something else at this point, whether that's a
Hmm.
Death Thing 2 or hopefully a new be put through that again. With Silent Hill, I'm pretty sure Japan Studio has been associated with that, which is one of PlayStation's studios.
Hmm.
I think both of these games, if they were to come out, I think they would be exclusive to PlayStation at least for the time being. Maybe come to PC at some point, but I don't know. I guess moving on to a potential announcement. Do you think either of these could be announced at the Video Game Awards on December 10th?
Um, Potentially, I could see the Silent Hill remake more happening more in general than the Metal Gear Solid remake, but I could potentially see it being announced next week.
It's just part of me is just when you hear these rumors for so long and then don't get anything out of it, I just wonder how true they can be. The Metal Gear Solid one, I'm pretty sure we can both agree that we don't expect that at the Video Game Awards. But a Silent Hill one, while it would surprise me a lot less than seeing a Metal Gear Solid remake. And I hope whoever gets a hold of it does a good job. I've never played a Silent Hill game. I have 3 of them sitting on my shelf waiting to be played. I just haven't really gotten around to it, but yeah, it is something I would look forward to. It's something hopefully they add a VR option for it because that's how I want to play horror games is in VR. But I guess we
Mhm.
can move on from that and we'll move on to another remaster rumor making the rounds, the Red Dead Outlaw Collection, which would be a remastered version of both Red Dead 1 and Red Dead 2 for the next gen consoles. What are your thoughts on that? It's a bit strange seeing a remaster that just came out in 2018.
I mean, in this age, not really, because we just got Spider-Man remastered, and people are kind of
True.
optimizing their games for the new consoles and kind of loosening the term of what like a remaster is. I think it's just kind of a buzzword that they're slapping on this stuff for the next generation.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, yeah, like this is actually really exciting if this were to happen. A full remaster of the like 10-year-old game now, Red Dead Redemption, and then kind of a next gen compatible version of Red Dead 2 in one package like that. That's incredible.
So this is something that you would be interested in getting, correct?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I haven't played Red Dead 2 at all, so I play
Did you play Red Dead 1?
oh my god, so long ago. I Yeah, I
Okay.
played the original and I played like the zombie DLC for it too.
Okay, Undead Nightmare.
Yeah, but this was like on the 360, like 10 years ago or whatever, close to when it came out.
Gotcha.
But
So
I
I
never.
guess I'm kind of confused with it as well because like I don't know, like at this point, if the rumor because it was an Amazon listing, it listed it for $70. Essentially, what I would be if I were to buy this, I would be buying a game that just came out in 2018 that while I loved, don't really have interest in replaying it again so soon. And the original, which I also love, can be played via backwards compatibility on the Xbox Series X, or I could just buy it on Steam. So I, the more and more these remasters are coming out, the more, and I know I was just raving about Mass Effect like a week or two ago, but the more and more I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, do I really want to spend $70 on two games that are not too hard to play right now? You know what I mean? And I know I
Mhm.
still have the first Red Dead for Xbox 360. That's I think one of the only Xbox 360 games I still have. It's in a box at home somewhere. I would just have to find it.
But I mean, this is something that I would probably buy day one in all honesty if I had a system to play it. Because
Wow.
I'd love to replay Red Dead 1 if it like looked and played better, and then finally get around to playing Red Dead 2. Of course, that'd be like over 100 hours of gameplay at the beginning of the
Yeah.
$70.
That's true. That's a good point. Especially because I know I was kind of trashing on them last time. The side missions, while a bit random at times, and they don't make a whole lot of sense with the story and don't necessarily move the story forward at all or add anything to it, they're a lot of fun, which I is probably the most important part. Like, yeah, it's a little random to show up to some random guy's cabin and help him hunt a bear out of nowhere, but it's fun, and that's really all that matters about it.
I f-
But also in Red Dead news is oh no, go ahead if you have another thought.
oh, well, I feel that way about like all Rockstar games in terms of like side stuff. Is I mean,
Yeah.
Red Dead definitely has like the good story you want to play through, but like GTA and like LA Noir, it's more fun to just kind of mess around in those games than it is to like
Mhm.
be slogging through like side missions.
Well, I guess because I wanted to touch on this and I didn't put it in our notes to talk about. I wanted to touch on Rockstar a little bit, just in general as a studio. Like, what is their next game gonna be? Because I don't know about you, I'm getting sick and tired of Rockstar. Sick and tired.
I'm getting sick and tired of GTA 5.
Exactly, that's what I'm sick and tired of because okay, think about this. GTA 5 came out in 2013. Since then, we got a game 5 years later in Red Dead Redemption 2. 5 years is that I feel like that's a little long for a studio to take on a game. We got an amazing game out of Red Dead 2. Can't complain a whole lot, especially because I believe GTA 5 was remastered for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One consoles because it came out just before them.
hmm
What are they doing now? We
They're
haven't heard
re-
any news out of them other than here's some more GTA stuff.
yeah, well, it's like they're supporting GTA Online, and then now they're porting GTA 5 to the now next gen consoles. So you're playing a 2 generation old game that's been upscaled a number of times.
So when are you expecting to hear whatever their next game is? I'm speculating it's going to be GTA 6.
It's probably going to
I would
be
assume it would be. I
GTA
don't know.
6.
Well, yeah, like what else would it be? Because it's not going to be another LA Noir. I don't think people cared for that game. And Bully 2 already got scrapped. We're not going to get
hmm
another Red Dead for a while, if ever, which would leave either, what is it, Max Payne and GTA are like their other big ones if they were to do a sequel.
They're not going to do another Max Payne game. I feel like it's been too long.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would leave GTA 6 or whatever they want to call it.
Although I could see them at some point doing an LOA Noir too, but I feel like they should just do. Well, I don't know. It feels like they're just going to keep supporting GTA Online.
The thing that I'm most disappointed in is because people don't really care about Red Dead Online, and we'll touch on it real quick. Red Dead Online is getting a solo release. Does this interest you at all?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Like anyone who wanted to play Red Dead has played it already. No one is gonna be, oh, here's Red Dead Online for 5 or 10 or free. $5, $10, or it could potentially be free. I don't think they've announced that yet. If they have, let us know on Twitter at Ramblin Gamers. But who is gonna go play Red Dead Online and be like, you know what? I wonder if the story for this is any good. Like, no one is gonna. I mean, I say no one. Obviously, they have business people who have probably gone over the numbers, and it's a sizable amount for them to do this. But who was playing Red Dead Online? That's the most boring thing I've ever played.
Yeah. I remember when it finally launched, people were very disappointed by it. It's
And
just like it
it's
was
not
just
like the
boring.
first one was good either. Yeah, the zombies were fun in the first one when you did like the undead nightmare. But I guess what I'm worried about is clearly I believe they have several studios, but clearly they have of their main studio they have two separate teams. One that was working on everything GTA 5, whether that be another port or the online, and then what I would assume would be another team working on Red Dead 2. Why don't studios this big just work on two games at once, and that way they can be pumping out games every 3 or 4 years?
Mhm. You would think, but I mean, like Red Dead 2 was a pretty sizable game. GTA 5 is a pretty sizable game, but I don't know. It's just kind of
What?
time for something new.
I when we get GTA 6, do you see it being a similar thing where they support the online and remaster it for like 8 years again?
Yeah, I could see them kind of combining the online. If they were to do a GTA 6 in like another city, I could see them kind of keeping it as like one GTA Online game, because as of right now, it is like GTA Online, but it's basically like GTA 5 online. I could see them kind
Hmm.
of
Yeah.
expanding online to like encompass a lot of things and have it be more its own thing. But then having like a new GTA entry that's focused on like story and like
You
everything
know
else,
what?
like new characters.
You just brought up a great idea, I think, and you and I aren't game developers by any means. But what if they had a GTA Online where you could pick between the different cities? So you could have San Andreas, Vice City. What is this other What is it? Is it Los Santos? I believe in GTA 5,
Mhm.
and whatever GTA 6 is. What if you could pick between like which one you wanted to hop into?
Yeah, and just kind of have it be a server thing because you make your own server basically, and you can kind of choose like what map it's on and the rules and all
Hmm,
that stuff.
that'd be interesting. I'd rather they just give us a cool single player game, but that would
Yeah,
be interesting, I guess.
but I mean, first and foremost,
Huh.
GTA's most fun aspect is just like messing around and driving your car around and killing people. So
Yeah,
I
but
think that'll
that's boring after a while.
it is boring after a while.
But I'm moving on. I know we talked about this last episode, but I believe Adam wants to touch on it a little bit more. Is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity? You've had a whole nother week with it since we last recorded. Any new interesting thoughts you want to add to last week's episode?
Yeah, so last week I only had 1 day, like 8 hours with the game, and I was enjoying it, but I wasn't sure if it was gonna like hold up if I kept playing it. Um, but I've pretty much been playing it all week, and I am really enjoying it still. I love just like it's just so satisfying. I've unlocked a lot more characters that are fun to play as, and like my opinion of the story's kind of dwindling, but I'm not really playing it for the story at this point.
What are you playing it for? Just having fun smacking people around?
Yeah, like the gameplay and kind of the completion aspect of it. Like I've been doing a lot of side stuff and there's like a
Okay,
percentage bar of like collecting things and leveling up your character to get new attacks and all that. So I've just been kind of having fun grinding out on characters I like to make them really powerful and then going into the matches and just fucking shit up.
gotcha. So it's a good $60 spent.
I mean, yeah, I'm satisfied.
That didn't sound promising.
Well, I mean, I'm still not all the way through it. Yeah, I'm only like halfway through the story and really focusing on side missions and stuff. So again, like the kind of gameplay it is, I could be burnt out and stuff. Like it could have been cheaper, but like I'm not complaining because in the long term I'm probably gonna get 60 hours out of it, which I mean for those that don't know, I've talked about this with Matt. There's kind of like a little philosophy I have of having the ratio between dollars spent on a game and like hours of enjoyment you've had with the game being 1 to 1. So with a $60 game, you kind of want to enjoy it for 60 hours.
I feel like Nintendo games hit that quite a bit. I know PlayStation games, in what I've played recently, haven't hit that as much. But it seems like with Nintendo, just their main story for the most part. You get it close to about 40 hours roughly if that's all you're doing. Is would I
Yeah.
be correct in saying that?
I mean, yeah, it really depends on the game, which is kind of hard because they're all like different price. Because
Hmm.
there's like Animal Crossing that I spent $60 on that I have like 450 hours in now, and then there's like Paper Mario, which is $60, but I only put like 25 to 30 hours into the story, and beyond that, there's not much else to do. So I mean,
Gotcha.
with
So that's
just
where you're
Nintendo, it kind of
go.
balances out somewhere. But
So that's where
yeah,
your Animal Crossings and your Breath of the Wild kind of help with that ratio a little bit. They're definitely pushing it up there because your Paper Mario's and Luigi's Mansions aren't there nearly as expansive and playable as Breath of the Wild and Animal Crossing, and maybe you can throw Odyssey in there as well.
hmm yeah, for sure. Like, yeah,
But
Odyssey, Breath of the Wild,
I
those are all
know
big games too.
I know for me personally, the games that I've been because I kind of once you've told me your philosophy on that, I've kind of I believe that to be true for me as well. Doom Eternal's a game where I got it on sale. Actually, I was fortunate enough. It's typically still a $60 game. I was able to get it for $30 over some holiday. I don't remember what was going on with it exactly, and I'm satisfied with the game. I saw it a lot of fun, but I did only get about I don't know 15 or 16 hours out of it out of a $30 game. So that's a bit disappointing. But like you said, that's where certain games where CS:GO's a good example of a game where at the time it was $15 and I put over 2,000 hours into it. So I've definitely got my worth out of that game. And actually, I've never said this on a podcast before, and this has nothing to do with what we were planning on talking about today. For any of you CS:GO players out there, or anyone who doesn't play CS:GO, look up a factory new dragon lore. Okay, look one of those up and see what it's worth. Believe it or not, I was dropped one of those in a game. I sold it for like $1,500 or something like that. So in that game, I spent $15 on it. I played it for 2,500 hours, and I gained about $1,500 on it. So if you're on the fence about buying CS:GO, I cannot recommend it enough. You could be a thousandaire like me.
Yeah, sometimes it pays to be a gamer.
Pays to be a gamer. Pays to be a Ramblin Gamer and to listen to this podcast. We're actually sending $5 to all of our viewers, and you get a what's it called? A recommended. If you recommend it, we'll send you $5 as well. So please recommend this to a friend. We're actually sending out money now. That's how desperate we are. But moving on to Cyberpunk, because we have about 2 weeks until that comes out. Recently, a Cyberpunk dev has come out saying that he's played the game for 175 hours and still has not seen the end credits. And he stated that he wasn't going for 100%. After doing research into what he was doing, it pretty much sounds like he's going for 100%, meaning he's doing all the side missions and everything. He is playing the game slower than most players normally would. He is going for I'm quoting here, a stealth gameplay. So that sounds boring. But 175 hours, Adam. What are your thoughts on that? 175 hours.
Well, I think for a $60-$70 game, that's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah, based on that ratio, that's a good game. But will you be playing? Will you do you think, can you see yourself putting 175 hours into this game?
Dude, I don't know. I know we talked about this previously, but I'm still kind of on the fence of buying it. I'm probably going to get it like later. It's a cheaper price and kind of public
You're
opinion
on the
of it is
fence
great.
about getting
Still,
you're on the fence about getting the most look forward to game in the last decade.
I mean, for some people.
I mean, I feel like it's safe to say overall, gamers' opinions that this would be the most look forward to game of the past decade.
Yeah, but
That's fair to say.
yeah, yes it is. But we talked about this in a previous episode and I don't know. I'm probably not going to get it right when it comes out.
Gotcha. Do you see yourself, like, if you were to when you buy this game, do you see yourself finishing it? Not 100%ing it, just finishing it.
Yeah, well, yeah, if there's a story and it's compelling enough, I'll finish it.
Gotcha. See, I'm hopeful that the side missions keep me, because I love games where you meet a character who you do side missions with, and all of a sudden you just put the main story on hold because the character's interesting enough to just follow them around for a couple hours doing all their side missions. I'm hoping that that's the case with this game. I'm pretty confident CD Projekt Red that they'll be able to do that. But side missions like that are one of the best things about open world games. And I'm not a big fan of open world games, so if they're able to do that, I could see myself putting 175 hours into this. I don't see myself going for all the collectibles and everything because I've always found that to be kind of just, I know, very few games I found that fun to do. I find it fun to do in Spider-Man because it's fun swinging around. I don't think me just driving a car around to collectible is something I can see myself doing.
Hmm. Okay, here's the question. So you've been following this game. Have they stated anything about supporting this game with DLC or like an online post-launch?
Yes, it is going to be post-launch though. I think they said it's not coming out until the online feature isn't coming out until early next year. And I guess I don't know for certain what the DLC they plan on adding is, if it's only for online or if it's, see, I don't know what else they would add. I'd hope so because they've already put so much time and money into this game. I'd like to see them support it with
Hmm.
new content for a while. Maybe smart just to get started on their next game because we probably won't see that until 2028. But I don't know. Hopefully, they seem like they know what they're doing. But
The Witcher 3 had a lot of DLC.
huh? Well,
This
do you remember what the DLC was like? What it was?
no, because I never got to the DLC when I played that game, but I remember the DLC was expansive.
So I guess I didn't realize that this game is based on like a board game or something.
Like a D&D kind of tabletop game.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
I
had
think
no
I
idea.
heard that.
So I saw something. So I've been very critical of the game, never on this, just in general. About I kept reading things about how like this game has a bunch of backstory, and they're starting a Netflix TV show for it. And I was like, what are these nerds up to? Like, what are they basing any of this on? Like, how's there a backstory for this? Like, we don't even know anything about it. And then come to find out, I'm the idiot. They have like actually the incredibly popular tabletop game I didn't even know existed. So I guess I had egg on my face after that one. That's kind of
Yeah.
cool, I guess. Though I'd love to see them make a Settlers of Catan. Honestly, I didn't know that that video game or I guess board game adaptations were a thing. Give me a Settlers of Catan one. That'd be awesome. Give me
Mhm.
what's the like Scrabble game that you have with it comes in a banana pouch?
Bananagram?
Yeah, give me a Bananagram video game. That'd be so. I'd love to see more things like that. Like that's actually interesting. I'd love to see more video games based off of books and everything. But then I don't know. We're probably running the risk of just getting really lazy things like we do with movies now.
Yeah. Well, Nintendo did release chess this year.
That is true. They did base their video game off of that board that needle in the haystack of a game, chess.
Yeah. Hidden gem.
Didn't they release a whole bunch of board games or video games based on other board games recently?
They did a whole collection.
The was just like the party game. It's like what is it called actually? Like genuinely, what is it called? I forgot.
Oh, Clubhouse games.
Clubhouse. I was thinking party house game, but that didn't sound right. Um, yeah, I can you believe that didn't get nominated for the game of the year? What a bunch of
Honestly,
malarkey that is.
I
Moving on, please go ahead. Go ahead.
I can't believe chess got snubbed.
Yeah, did you hear that? Do you know what else got snubbed?
The Weekend.
Yeah, the weekend did get snubbed, but toy car racing got snubbed.
Damn.
Isn't that? Yeah. Anyways, moving on. PlayStation 5 has now had the biggest console launch in the history of console launches. Is this surprising to you in any way, shape, or form?
Um, I mean, I saw the numbers, so like it makes sense. But when I first heard it, I was kind of surprised, just because um, I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to a lot of console launches. The only console I got at launch was the Switch, but I do
Hmm.
remember a lot of people complaining that they were unable to find one in stores, kind of like the PS5 is now. Um, so it's like it's so weird how I'm hearing all these things online of people complaining that they can't get a PS5 and it's still being like the biggest console launch ever.
Exactly, and I think it's massively impressive as well in a year with COVID and probably manufacturing downtime that they were able to pump out. I believe, I could be wrong on this number. Correct me if I'm wrong. Twitter at Ramblin Gamers, but I believe they got out 6.5 million of them.
Wow,
I
where'd they all
think.
go? They're probably all in one guy's basement.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess we can touch on that. Did you see that Scalper in the UK got 3,500 of them?
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit. I want one.
Yeah. Oh, I can't. We need to talk about this. So there was a guy on Twitter, and he posted that I don't know exactly the number that he had. He posted a picture, and he probably had like 30 or 40 of them. I didn't count. A mix of disc and digital. And I'm gonna quote this tweet now. It said, "Fuck your feelings. Digital $900, disc not or $1,100." So he was charging over like 200% of what they're worth. Okay. This guy's a dickhead. He's a class 1, class A, tier 1 dickhead. Okay. Someone replied to that tweet saying, "Fuck your feelings," and then replied with his address because he doxed him. And we shouldn't be laughing about this because this is massively illegal, and it's not funny that people are able to do this and steal from him. But he then posted a GPS route of him leaving his house to go to this guy's house, and then he got all of his PlayStations stolen, supposedly.
God damn.
So
The modern day Robin Hood.
yeah, but chances are this guy's probably selling them himself for an upcharge. I just thought it was funny that I don't know. It's funny when people who deserve it get what's coming to them.
I agree.
I just love how when some people are so sassy about it too. He happened to live like 40 minutes away from the guy, and he put on Twitter a video of him getting closer to his house on his GPS. You might not even be able to find it out. I was only able to find the one tweet of the guy's address, and I thought that was very funny. But we can move on to more news about the PlayStation. I thought this was incredibly interesting. A PlayStation VR sequel. I don't know what you want to call it because they didn't have a name, but a patent leaked for it. And keep in mind that these patents don't mean anything. I'm a business major myself, so I know a little thing or two about good business. But I'm joking. But basically, no, I am a business major, but I'm joking. I don't know anything about anything. A lot of times companies they get these patents so that way no one else can do it. They spend their time researching it, deciding if they want to do it or not, and if they don't want to do it, they just kind of let the patent run out in 20 years. When at that point, it's probably useless. If they weren't going to do it now, they aren't going to do it 20 years from now when the patent runs out. But this patent did, and I thought this was interesting. It's a smaller headset because I don't know if you've seen the PSVR headset, Adam. It's a big one. It's huge. They also had with the theme of the DualSense, there are also some information about there being haptic feedback in the headset. How does that sound to you? Is that something you'd be interested in? I know you haven't used the DualSense, so you don't necessarily have a feel for exactly what it would be. I know I have my thoughts on that, but just initial thoughts on hearing that. What do you think?
I mean, what would that do for like immersion? I'd understand on the controllers if they had haptic feedback, but I mean, I've been playing a lot of Oculus recently, as we talked about last week, and it like what all they really have in there in the headset is they have like speakers that kind of blast it right into your ears.
Mhm.
Um, and that's pretty like dynamic, but I don't really understand what they would do with like haptic feedback. They would just like vibrate your head.
So, yes, but here's when I first heard this, the first thing I thought of is if you're playing a shooting game and you have this thing on your head, there's a little vibrator thing like right on your forehead, and when you get shot in the head, the thing just like has a jolt right into your
No,
forehead to
I
make you
hate
think you
that.
actually
Oh,
died.
I would hate that.
Okay, and that was my initial thought too. I was like, okay, that like it could be cool, it could be immersive, but also I don't want to feel like I'm dying. Like I don't feel that way in my hands, but if like someone comes up behind me and I hear them just coming up behind me and I hear a gun click and all of a sudden a big jolt in the back of my head, it make me think I would actually think I was dead. I would faint there on the floor. It'd be good for a live stream or YouTube, but not my heart health.
No.
I assume you kind of have the same thoughts.
Yeah, but like, what else would they do? Would they do some like temperature control? Because like,
Oh,
I mean, that actually would be cool.
that's
I
cool.
was I was thinking like, oh, if you're like in a hot area in the game, like it kind of heats up your head, but your head's already hot in the headset. Um, but
Hmm.
then kind of
So
unrelated,
you
I
have
was
a
thinking,
heat
oh,
stroke.
yeah, but if they can find some way to like cool it down, maybe there's fans in there to keep your head cool, like unrelated to the game. That'd be cool.
Yeah, but then we're getting crazy. Like, there's no way I'm gonna stick that thing's gonna weigh 40 pounds. I'm not sticking that on my head.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an anchor. So I guess the first thing we should talk about is, do you believe this is an actual thing that they are planning on moving forward? This exact type of model, not PSVR in general. This type of thing. Do you think that this is something that is going to be in development in the near future?
Yes, and like as you said with patents, is when patents leak, it's not like a guaranteed thing. It's just something that they kind of secure
Mhm.
with their name on it. But having an updated PSVR coming out for the PS5 is incredibly likely. And these things with like the haptic feedback and like a smaller headset are kind of like obvious steps forward from the PSVR.
I buy it too. It just makes sense with how popular the DualSense is. Um, I don't. It feels like they could do some cool things with it. My big thing is I don't want to feel like I'm dying when I play video games.
Yeah,
So if this turns out to be true and you are eventually able to get your hands on a PlayStation 5, do you see yourself buying this? I know you've been into VR recently. Is this something you could see yourself dropping around $300-400 on?
I mean, no, because the only thing I'd be getting it for at that point would be like the PlayStation VR exclusive games, and
Hmm.
there's not really any that I want to play.
That's kind of how I feel about it. I feel like if in when this comes out and if it potentially comes out in 1 or 2 years time, if you and I are still doing this, maybe making some money, I can see us buying it then. If I'm not doing video games for a career, I don't see myself buying this. It's not something I know I've already said this. I don't wanna feel like I'm dying. Like, I don't wanna spend $400 to feel like I'm gonna die in a video game. That doesn't sound like fun. Like, cool, it's immersive, but I don't know. It's just strange. But, do you have anything more to I think that's it on our stories. Do you have anything else to add for that?
For that, no. But I have been playing a lot more Oculus recently, getting into like VR chat and stuff, and it's pretty funny.
Okay, yeah, we actually do plan on, doing some VR stuff. I know we hype this up every single week. I am actually heading down to Adam's place, and we're gonna do a whole bunch of recording, or that's the plan. I'm heading down there December 10th, so we should have some Cyberpunk stuff. We're planning on doing a Crash Bandicoot stream. That's the one that's come up repeatedly. But now that Adam has the VR headset, we do plan on doing that, playing some fun games, messing around with people in VR chat, maybe but just keep an eye out on those streams because I was planning to do a stream this Friday. I had some technical stuff, wasn't able to get it going, and I think I'm just gonna push it off until I go down there with Adam. But every Friday is when I plan to do it, even when school starts back up. At least every Friday, we're gonna try and get a schedule set up between Adam and I where we stream like 2 times a week. Um, some other news: I asked for a Switch for Christmas because I'm still 21 and I get Christmas gifts like that. If that comes out, you're plan on hearing a lot about Nintendo from me. I'm not going to be such an idiot. And another thing, Adam, when I go down there, Adam set up. He has this whole what is it? Yeah, you're better off describing it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about? How
well,
you're gonna make me test run some games.
yeah, I'm calling it an NES crash course because Matt is new to the world of Nintendo and a lot of their games and their history. So I have a list of 20 games. I'm going to sit him down and he's going to play a little bit of each one while I kind of explain the history behind each game and why they're important to Nintendo's history. So now when he starts to get into Nintendo games, he'll see and catch a lot of like the old references to 30-year-old games and I guess understand the history and importance behind each one.
And this was something we were planning on recording, correct? And then eventually posting on YouTube.
Yes, yeah. No, everyone will be able to watch it. And all the games that I have are we're going to be playing on the Switch on the NES Online. So, I mean, people will be able to play along and hopefully learn some stuff too.
I'm very very pessimistic about people watching me play these games for the first time, because people are going to look up these games expecting to see people who are good at them, and they're going to see me fail at 20. Like, I'm not an idiot with video games, but it's going to be my first time playing them, so I don't want to get made fun of too hard in the comments. But if you are going to make fun of me, at least share it with the friends so we're able to build our audience. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Ramblin Gamers. Get ready for some big streams coming out. Hopefully every Friday starting pretty soon. I may need to get a capture card, but those are going to be at twitch.tv/Ramblin Gamers. Search us on YouTube. Ramblin Gamers should be enough to find us. Like I said, we need to get 100 subscribers before we can change that. So please, please, please recommend it to a friend. This podcast will also be up on YouTube along with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and several other streaming platforms. Do you have anything else to add before we end off our episode today?
Are we really giving people $5?
No, of course we're not. We don't make any money on these. We're not giving people $5. Anything else to add, Adam?
No, I'm good for today.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. This has been Ramblin Gamers. Keep on gaming, everybody, and keep on rambling about us and video games with your friends. Have a good week.
Goodbye.